Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to have a look at Ethereum. Let's get into the price action and see what's going on. Okay, so primarily what I'm still looking for is that potential of forming a C wave to the downside. We're looking for this 1-to-1 here of the 1721. Now, what we could see is this: there's always a potential. We need to be aware that we could be starting to break down in a bigger way here, where this actually becomes a 1-2, and we get a bigger third wave towards this 1559 area. So we need to be cautious of that fact. If we do start to extend out here within these waves, we need to be very careful of this 1559 area, because that would then take us down to that zone where we typically get a third wave, would then look for a fourth, and then possibly get a fifth wave to the downside. So we need to be aware of that until we actually reach the zone or start to extend out, though, where we need to also just be aware that we could just have a corrective structure here, and we could actually just look to retest towards the 1721 zone. So if we are actually completed this as a B wave high here, what we could be is within a C wave to the downside. Now that C wave, what this could have is there's a couple of ways of reading it basically, and we're going to go over those. So if we are in a C wave to the downside, what I would be looking at primarily is to actually see if we're getting some extension, where this becomes a 1-2, we have another 1-2 here, and then we have this as an additional 1 and 2. So this would be valid for as long as we stay below this 1887. What we'd want to see here for confirmation of this count would be treating this as an additional 1-2 in the yellow count here, looking for this third wave down towards the 1710, then having a fourth wave potentially up towards the 1767, and then having a fifth wave towards the zone of the 1697 to the 1676. Now, if we do have an extension like this, what we have to do is actually wait for the waves to come in, because sometimes we can have further extension within these yellow, like within the yellow count here, which could actually look to push us deeper than the typical zone we would look for. Now, based off of this as a 1 and a 2, that 1.618 is here at the 1698. So what we'd want to see is, if we do get this yellow sequence play out, we'd want to see this cross that level for further, clarity that we are within a 5-wave move. Then from that point, we'd want to see a move which fails to break above this previous fourth wave, and then actually looks to continue to the downside again. So this is what we'd have to track here. We'd have to track this as it develops, because we can extend out deeper than this typical 1618. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. So this would be the one way we're looking at it. This could actually potentially look to even bring us back into this bottom channel here. But like I said, we wouldn't really want to cross this 1559. So some interesting areas that this could actually look to take us into, if we develop in this way, would actually be looking down here towards this area here of this 1712. So that would be a 50% retracement, and then this 618 to the 601 would actually be down here towards this bottom trend line. So that would be quite an interesting area if we do actually break down in this manner. That would also keep us away from that 1618, but we would have to obviously stop before that. It is possible that a C wave can come down to this 1618 and then just not develop a fourth wave and actually move up past this A wave high. But what we'd have to wait for then is to see whether we actually get a 5-wave move to the upside, or whether we get a 3-wave move to the upside that fails to take this A wave, which would be here at this 1825. So that's what we need to be aware of, in that potential of actually breaking down in a bigger way. Now, there is other ways of actually looking at the structure here. What we could see is that instead of looking at this move as an extension, what we could have is something like this, where we have this as a diagonal starcher, and we could be looking for a wave 2. Now, the key thing here as a wave 2 would be this rejection area here, this 1967 to this 1901. If we just see a 3-wave move to the upside, which actually looks to break this 1887, but fails to take this 1967 to this 1901, we could actually see further continuation down in a third wave. That third wave target would be this 1586, and then we'd be looking for that potential that we have a fourth and a fifth. Now, this would tie into that idea of actually having this as a bigger 5-wave move here, and we could see that this would actually take us down past this zone of this 1618, which would be this 1559. So this is what we need to be careful of here, is that if we do get a breakdown into these sort of lower areas here, this 1560 to this 1518, this could actually indicate that we are looking to, form a 5-wave structure off these highs, in which case that starts to put put the bullish count really at stress at that point. So we need to just be careful of that. This is still a possibility, really, for as long as we stay below this 2019. If we did move up and we start to break above this 1967, it becomes less likely that we're having something like this play out. But really, invalidation is only at this 2019, like I said. So we need to just be careful of that. The other way we could look at this is that potentially what we could see here is that we could have a diagonal to the downside, which is actually forming in three waves. So what we'd have here is a ABC for 1. This is a 2. Looking for this as an A, potentially a B that could be completed here, or it could come back up one more time, failing to actually cross this 1887, and then actually looking to break down again in another 3-wave move. This would be a 5-wave move here for this third wave. So off of this current high, 121 would be the 1768. So if we just get a single 5-wave move down here towards the 1768, what we could then have is this is an ABC for a third wave, and then we'd be looking for that potential of a fourth and a fifth wave to the downside. Now, this fourth wave wouldn't be allowed to cross this zone of this 1842, and this would then be looking for that additional 3-wave move to the downside here. So this could be an interesting little area that we could look to actually push down to. Now, if this does move to the downside, what we would be looking for as a sort of target for the fifth wave would be it couldn't actually cross this zone of this 1710. That's sort of the maximum it would be allowed to travel, because it can't be longer than this third wave. But what we could actually see is this stop closer towards this 0.61H, which would actually be here towards this 1753. So this is something I'm keeping an eye on. This would also fill that idea of looking for this as a C wave. And it would just be looking to do it as a diagonal, in which case what we'd be expecting is a pretty decent sized move to the upside off the back of this, if this is the case. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. If that, like I said, that 1-to-1's down here at the 1721, so that could be something that's playing out. Now, there is also potential that this B wave is just not completed. So there's a couple of ways that we can look at this as well. And what we can see within this is that potentially what we could have is something like this, where we have a W and X, and we could even be forming some kind of a flat correction here. So it's not clear, obviously, with flat corrections, we don't know whether they're going to be running flats or expanding flats. Typically speaking, expanding flats are more common than the running flat variation. But what we need to be on the lookout for is that we could actually start to form a 5-wave move to the upside. Now, if we did form a 5-wave move to the upside, what we could see is this typical area as an expanding flat would be here at this 2140 to this 2051. So that would be a zone we could actually look to target out. However, if this is going to be a running flat, what we could actually see is something like this, and getting a 5-wave move into this channel again, and potentially looking to stop at that point. So this will be something we need to keep an eye on. This would actually mean that the C wave hasn't started yet, and we're having something like this. Like I said, WX, this is a flat for a Y wave. So yeah, we just need to see how these waves react. If we break to the downside, potentially this could mean that we're getting that extension, or we're looking for those diagonals. Alternatively, if we do start to break to the upside here, I would be looking out once again around this 2068 as a 0.786 as a possible completion zone. But we also need to be aware that we could truncate and look to actually complete closer towards this 50%. Now, we can also look at this move slightly different here, where the ending point is slightly forward, in which case what we could then be looking at is something like this, where we have this as an A, B wave triangle as a C. So now this could actually complete an A wave to the upside, in which case what we could be forming is a B wave down. If this is the case, this B wave could potentially still be incomplete if this is playing out. What we could see is that this could actually be where we get a W, an X, and a Y to the downside, in which case we could look for another 3-wave move here, and that would fit that count of a W, X, and a Y. If that's the case, then what we could actually do is look to target out towards this zone here. If I just throw this fib onto this area, 1-to-1 would be the 1697, but minimum that I would want to see here is actually here towards the 1768. So the key thing here is it's going to be quite tricky, because if we just see another single drop down here, and then we see a 5-wave move to the upside. We need to be careful because a 5-wave move to the upside like this could still be just the end of a correction. So if we do get that 5-wave move up, what we want to see is actually holding support above this low. If we get a 5-wave move to the upside, that actually comes down and breaks this low. It would be confirmation of a flat correction here. So this is what we need to just be aware of. It is also possible this could actually just be the A wave of the B wave. We get a B wave up, we get another C wave to the downside, and then we actually look to push up. The problem that I have with that is then this whole corrective structure is getting a bit big in comparison to this as an A wave. So we'll have to give it a bit of space and time and see how it exactly plays out. But yeah, this is something we can't rule off yet. You know, we need to be aware that there's still potential that we could see a 5-wave break to the upside as a C wave here. Need to be careful of this fact. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone, have a great day. We'll see you in the next one.